Here's Brody Brazil.
Players I'm most excited for in 2023 for the A's. You know what? Largely the same players we're already seeing here. You know, I think in a lot of recent A's years, you hadn't seen everybody because they hadn't called everybody up. Well, they've pretty much called everybody up this year. So I want to see what, Shea Langoliers looks like next year in a full season. I hope that Christian Pache can stay up with the A's for a full season. I'd like to see what Nick Allen's bat can do offensively in a full season. Domingo Acevedo, maybe in the closer role next season. Speaking of pitchers, how about AJ Puck? And it's been rough for him. Maybe just go right back to the rotation. Let's see how that works. Speaking of the rotation, JP Sears, Ken Waldachuk, two players brought over in that trade with the Yankees for Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino. I think they are almost shoo-ins right now for the A's rotation next year. So I've named a couple, and I certainly hope that they can have some of the glue players stay. The players who are under arbitration or team control, the Tony Kemps, the Cole Irvins. I would really love to see Chad Pinder stay, but I got to be honest, for Chad Pinder, where he's at in the career and understanding what the A's are in the process of doing, and the fact that he's a free agent for the first time, and you don't get to go through that process a whole lot of times in your career. I hope he does explore it. Like, I'm saying this in the best for him. I hope he goes out and explores free agency, because I think there might be some really good opportunities for him out there on turnkey playoff caliber clubs. They would want him. So, yeah, it's obviously Sean Murphy behind the plate. I'd like to see Seth Brown, eclipse 30 homers next year. Ramon Lauriano next year. I'd have to think that it's weird to say this, that he will be heavily talked about. If he has a good season next year, come trade deadline, he will be one of the biggest conversations on the A's. Will somebody, try and lift him or whatever? But I'm just excited for him to have a full season, hopefully without injury. Obviously, this year started with the suspension. So it's not just the youngest players. Granted, there's a bunch of others in the pipeline who aren't even here right now that I'm excited about. But there's a lot of guys from this year that I think were integral in keeping things on the rail. Like as much as it's a 102-loss season, things are relatively still on the rail. Look at last night. The way they won in a walk-off, they didn't have to do that. So, more players than you would expect I'm excited for in 2023.